you to mute your microphone and your videos and don't present your screen. Okay? Now, I request for inaugural address to in Department of Economics, Sri Ashutosh Murmu. Please.
Thank you, Dr. Shantanu Chakraborty. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. As you know that we divide our webinar into two sessions. First session is presented by our eminent speaker, Professor Shikut Sinharai, Department of Economics, Stanford University, on the topic, the economic lockdown on Indian economy, a critical analysis of remedial measures of Government of India. And second session will be presented by Dr. Amit Majumdar, Department of Commerce, J. Krishna Girls College, on the topic, personal tax planning, old versus new regime, and e-filing. From the titles of the webinars, we can say that the webinar will be going to very fruitful journey for us, as it covers two recent topics. At the end, I am very thankful to Professor Shikut Sinharai and Dr. Amit Majumdar for accepting our invitation for the webinar. Last but not least, I am very thankful to our audience for joining us. Thank you. Over to Dr. Shantanu Chakraborty.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Murmu. Now, may I request for welcome address to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Bhairab Ganguly College.
Thank you, Shantanu. Now, welcome everyone in this one-day state-level webinar organized by the Department of Economics and Department of Commerce of Bhairab Ganguly College. In fact, we had a session in the morning when the Department of Commerce has organized a webinar on the restoring economic growth, taking stock of business strategies and economic policy. And three eminent speakers, Dr. Devdas Rokit of Bardhaman University, Dr. Soumen Chattopadhyay of Jawaharlal Nehru University, and Dr. Somnath Hajra of Jadavpur University have presented their issues and enlightened us about the different aspects of economic issues challenging by the economy of the country and the entire world. And that was a very fascinating session. And we have in our hand the two eminent speakers, the two honorable speakers. I express my deep gratitude to Professor Shikut Sinharai, Professor, Department of Economics, Jadavpur University, Kolkata, and Dr. Amit Majumdar, the Associate Professor, Department of Commerce of J. Krishna College, Howrah. They will discuss on the different issues. First, Professor Sarkar will discuss on the topic, the economic impact of lockdown on the Indian economy and critical analysis of remedial measures and Government of India. So it's a very relevant topic, and Sir will enlighten us about the different issues in the coming moments. And then Dr. Amit Majumdar will discuss on the personal tax planning, old versus new regime, and e-filing. So we have a very relevant topic in our hand, and the two distinguished speakers will enlighten us. And I also express my heartiest thanks to the organizing secretary, joint conveners, and all the persons associated with this webinar committee for making this effort, for their dedicated effort. And I also express my sincere thanks to Dr. Abul Salam for his technical support in arranging this webinar. And I hope this session will be enjoyed by all of you, all the participants. I express my sincere thanks to all of you, and I hope that this session will be enjoyable. And I now request Sri Suchidananda Sardar for introducing our honorable speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon. I am going to introduce today's research person, Dr. Shikut Sinharai, sir. It gives me immense pleasure to invite Dr. Shikut Sinharai, sir, on behalf of the organizing committee of Bhairab Ganguly College. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation to deliver a lecture impact of lockdown on Indian economy, a critical analysis of remedial measures of Government of India. Dr. Shaikat Sinha Rai is professor in the Department of Economics, Jadavpur University, Kolkata. Currently, he is also the coordinator of the UGC Center for Advanced Studies, Department of Economics, Jadavpur University. Till recently, he was Joint Director of School of International Relations and Strategic Studies, Jadavpur University. He is a member of the Steering Committee for Promotion of Exports for West Bengal, Department of Commerce and Industry, Government of West Bengal, and also a member of the Standing Technical Committee of Experts to review Exim Bank's export leading index model to forecast India's exports, Exim Bank of India, Mumbai, and member of the Technical Advisory Committee, Social Science Division, Indian Statistical Institution. He holds an MPhil and a PhD from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, done at the Center for Development Studies, Trivandrum, India. Dr. Sinha Roy's areas of academic interest include open economy, macroeconomics, trade and development, applied trade modeling, applied economics, and issues relating to the emerging market economics. Prior to joining Jadavpur University, he was a fellow at the Research and Information System for Developing Countries, New Delhi. He also worked briefly at the Asian Development Bank, New Delhi. He was a British Academy of Social Sciences visiting fellow to the Department of Economics, Lancaster University in 2009. Recently, he completed a British High Commission, New Delhi, funded policy research project on state-level exports, competitiveness, and trade promotion policies. The Indian case study. Currently, he is part of a global research team working on a multi-country research project titled Special Economic Zones, a force for good to reduce inequality, being funded by Volkswagen Stiftung, Germany. He has published in various national and international journals, monographs, and in edited volumes. Recently, he has co-edited a book titled International Trade and International Finance, Explorations of Contemporary Issues published by Springer. Therefore, sir, I welcome you to enlighten us with your thoughts on today's topic. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shuchidananda. Mm, it's an immense pleasure to speak to an audience hosted by a college where I have gone before personally for a conference a couple of years back. Yeah, and it's my second time I'm presenting at the Bhairab Ganguly College, Belghoria, Kolkata. I'm presenting in a distance mode because of the kind of pandemic that is on, and the webinar in that sense is very thoughtful of the college. I personally thank the college authorities for organizing this day-long webinar on COVID-19 pandemic. The principal, the vice principal, Dr. Das, Dr. Chakraborty, Professor Murmu, and of course Shochidananda for
হ্যালো আবুল সালাম স্যার, স্যারের এটা মিউট হয়ে গেছে। হ্যালো
Sir, please
আবুল,
unmute yourself. Sir, please
Yes,
unmute yourself.
I have done. I have done. Sorry.
Okay, okay, sir.
Uh, Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to this webinar. The entire team at Bhairab Ganguly College and also the audience for, I hope I can live up to your expectations. Now, let me divide my presentation into two parts. The first part, I'll give a brief of the kind of pandemic that is taking a toll on the entire globe, give you some information on that, and then let me talk to you about what the government of India has done. Government of India has done in the government of India has done to do this, to combat this pandemic. Now, I feel honored that today in the morning, my classmate Shoumen Chattopadhyay has spoken, and to speak after such erudite speaker, others also are known to me. To speak after them is really, I don't know how much is left for me to speak, but let me try to build my case out. The first thing that I would like to say, that the pandemic has not spared any country whatsoever, whether it's a developing country, a least developed country, or a developed country. And as I would tell you that I'm presenting some brief data from January 1, 2020, and my data is up to mid-June. I should have updated it, but I could not update it because of paucity of time. But during this period, as I'm first showing the case of Australia, where and I'm only talking about the new cases that add to the scare every day for each country. And as time has passed, you would see in Australia the curve gradually rose and then it started declining. And the two lines, vertical lines that you see it's the lockdown period that was in Australia. For other countries, also the vertical lines will be the period of the lockdown. It would indicate the period of the lockdown. Now, you would see that in Australia, they had lifted the lockdown only after the number of new cases had died down very significantly. If you go to Brazil, that in Brazil till middle of June, there was no taking away of the lockdown, and the number of cases that you would see, it's increasing almost exponentially. If you look at China, the country where it started from, it actually started, they had a period of lockdown, and even after lockdown, there were hardly...
Sir, 1 minute, your PPT is not working.
Huh?
Your PPT is not working. We are not seeing the slide. We can't see the slide, please.
Okay. Let me... but my computer shows that it's sharing. Just please wait a minute. Okay, I'll try again.
Actually, sir, no, sir. Sir, it is showing on the screen. But have you started the slides to show us by clicking on the PDF file?
Yes.
Oh, you just click again on the PDF. It has right checked, but not open.
Oh, just a minute.
Double click on the PDF file, please.
Okay. Can you see now?
No, sir. Still, it is not coming. You close and open again.
Sorry, I'm sorry. This technology is actually, but I have done before. I don't know why it's. Is it coming now?
Yes, sir.
Now it is okay.
Okay, thank you. So what I was showing in Australia, during the lockdown period, the number of cases died down, whereas in Brazil, the number of cases during the lockdown has actually exponentially increased. In China, in the lockdown period, the number of new cases died down, and it's almost close to zero. But there is information that it's dying down. There is information that it's down. The new cases are dying down. If you look at India, you would see that during this lockdown period, the whole thing exponentially increased. The lockdown did not have any impact on the number of cases, new cases of COVID-19 that is there. And even after the first phase of unlockdown and in the second phase of unlockdown that we are currently in, the number of new cases have continuously risen. Now, I am not giving the new cases in the current phase, but we showed that we stopped the unlockdown even when the number of new cases were rising. So lockdown virtually did not have any, or actually did not have any effect on the number of new cases that is there. In Spain, which was in the news, on the contrary, the number of new cases have come down, and all over Europe, if you see, all over Europe, they have been able to control the pandemic in a very significant way. Even in Great Britain, the number of cases have come down, but they have not removed the, taken away the lockdown. In the United States, it came down, and there is a second phase now in July. So you would see, if you look at India, then you would see in India that in India, the lockdown has not in fact effectively worked. But even if the lockdown had not worked, why the lockdown was there, and then there are phases of unlockdown. What we are expected to do during this lockdown and the following unlockdowns, we were expected to take certain policies, certain measures, which would actually control the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the first kind of thing that was expected during the lockdown was the earmarking of certain expenditure towards building the health infrastructure. Health infrastructure holds the key to the controlling of the pandemic. Now, except in Kerala, all over India, we would find that the health infrastructure, whether at the provided by the national government or by the state government, it's in a pathetic state. There is a large gap between what is being demanded and the number of new cases. We are not able to handle the number of large cases that is there. So what we were supposed to do is to, during this lockdown period, we were supposed to invest on the infrastructure, to build up health infrastructure. That's the first point. Now, we would see that how much we have invested or how much we have spent on building up of the health infrastructure. To start with, if you look at the budget that was presented at the national level in the 1st of February and by the various state governments during the first 15 days of February, you would see none of this. And by then the pandemic has already started. The first case of pandemic was detected in India, was detected in Kerala on the 30th of January 2020. Now, even despite the visibility of pandemic, the pandemic being started in the country, neither the central government nor the state governments have spent any money on building up or earmarking additional money for health infrastructure. So I would quickly hasten to say that the country was not caught unawares, and it did not have, however, it did not have any preparedness to build up health infrastructure to start with. Now, once the lockdown started in the third, once the lockdown started in the third week of June, once the lockdown started in the third week of March, sorry, once the lockdown started in the third week of March, the health infrastructure, what happened? There were several things that were visible on the economy front. And what I would like to talk to you now, it's on the economy front. The first thing is about growth. The growth of the economy, just a minute, I want to share something. There is someone who is sharing a window.
Sumon Bhomik, please stop your.
Yeah, I have stopped that. Okay. But Sumon Bhomik, please stop your sharing. Yes.
Sir, you please carry on.
Yeah. Let me start presenting a new slide. Now, here I would try to show you what has happened during the present.
It is coming, sir. Now it is okay.
Okay. Is it coming?
No, sir.
Oh. Oh my God, what is happening? Sorry, I'm really sorry. Why it's not working today, I don't know. Is it coming?
Yes, sir, coming.
Okay, thank you. Yes. And now,
sir, please.
what I would like to show you that is it coming?
Yes, sir, it is coming.
Okay, thank you. What I would like to show you is the first impact, it's on growth. Now, on growth, what has happened? Both of the growth in gross domestic product and the per capita I would talk about. But let me talk about the growth in GDP or real gross domestic product. If you see that in India, there has been an increase in growth, though slow, an increase in growth from 2012 to 2016. And from 2016, there has been a secular decline in growth till 2019-20. This is if you look at the yearly rate of growth. Now, if you look at the quarterly rate of growth, you would see that the growth rate peaked, though in a very fluctuating way. The growth rate peaked in the third quarter of peaked in the second quarter of 2016-17, and then there was a sharp decline with a marginal recovery, only to decline again from 2018-19. And if you look at the third quarter of 2019-20, that is October, December 2019-20, you would see that there was a sharp fall in growth. Now, so to start with, when we came to the pandemic, or when the pandemic arrived, then we were already on a declining growth path. Now, along with the declining growth path, what happened is actually with the lockdown, all kinds of activities in the economy stopped. Employment stopped in the economy, and as a result, production came down to zero. So you would imagine there was a sharp fall in the growth rate in the first quarter, during a large part of which you would have the pandemic. Large part of which is you have the lockdown following the pandemic. So you would see a sharp fall in the growth rate in the fourth quarter, of the final quarter of 1920 and 2021 to begin with. And it is expected that in the year that is ahead, that is 2021, there will be a negative growth. I don't want to give you a figure on the negative growth, because every day all the agencies who predict growth, they are downwardly revising their growth rate for the year 2021. Now, along with this, there has been a sharp decline in the in employment. And if you look at employment, then you would see that the people who could go mostly unemployed, this is based on the figures, PLFS survey, periodic labor force survey data for the year 2018-2019, you would see that the people who would almost go unemployed is the first kind of people who are self-employed, who account for 52% of the total workforce. The second kind would be the regular wage salaried worker. Among them, you would see the people who would go jobless are the regular workers not eligible for any social security benefit. That means these are called the regular informal workers, who account for 14%. And then you would have the casual workers, who account for 24% of the total workforce. So a large, almost 80% of the workforce, because of the lockdown, would go jobless. Now, if you have any estimate of joblessness in the economy, the CMIE has given us a figure of joblessness. 122 million people became jobless in the beginning of June, when the unlockdown has started. In fact, it was predicted once the unlockdown started, people will be slowly coming back to the to production, to work, and they will be absorbed again in work, and activity rates would increase. Employment, which is a derived condition, that employment in the economy would increase. I would also show you what happened to the economy, and here we are constrained. I should mention, here we are constrained by the availability of current data. The consumer expenditure survey, most of you would know, the consumer expenditure survey by the National Sample Survey Organization was stopped or was not published. Though the survey was carried out, it was not published by the central government, the survey of 2017-18, because that showed large-scale decline in consumption by especially by the urban sector. The rural sector was also included. The indices, or the facts that are derived from the consumer expenditure survey, one which is poverty, and also inequality, which is based on the consumer expenditure survey. that is also not available for latest year. But if we know the facts that in 2012, the last year when the survey was done, actually in many states, especially the states which are very highly producing states, they had very high rates of inequality. So this inequality is despite the remarkable decline in poverty rates that had gone during the globalization period since 1991. Now, it is expected that once production stopped, during the lockdown period, poverty rates would increase. People who are fence sitters, who are on the threshold of the poverty line, they will fall back below the poverty line. So poverty rates in the economy would increase. And not only poverty rates would increase, the gap between the rich and the poor, the top 20 deciles and the bottom 20 deciles, or top 10 deciles and the bottom 10 deciles would increase. And so as a result, whatever large inequality that was visible during globalization, the inequality in the economy would increase. Now, in that case, what the economy should have done? This is the economic scenario. Your production has stopped, your consumption has stopped, your activity levels have stopped, the employment levels have come down to almost zero, your poverty rates have expected to increase, your inequality rates are expected to increase. In that state, what the government was expected to do? Now, the government was expected to do something. First, I had already said that it was supposed to invest or spend on building up of health infrastructure. There is a large gap in health infrastructure, and the requirement and that is in supply. There is a large gap in health infrastructure, and people are actually denied of the kind of health services that they would have liked to have during the pandemic. Now, the second thing the government was expected to do is to bring back production and growth in the economy. To bring back production and growth in the economy, to improve employment, to absorb more people in the economy. And the third thing that it would lead to is to lower poverty rates. There can be a spike in the poverty rate, but the poverty rate is expected to go down as a result. And if possible, the inequality, the gap that was there, that should come down. Now, what did the government do? The government announced a package, a package named as Atmanirbhar Bharat package in early May, and that is after 1.5 months of the lockdown that has started. And the miseries of the lockdown had already started. What did the package include? The package came in 5 tranches. The first tranche was released on 13th May, and when the 5th tranche was declared on the 17th May. The first tranche included was devoted to businesses, including the micro, small, and medium enterprises, which was the worst affected in the pandemic. The second was targeted towards the poor, including migrant workers and farmers. The third was devoted towards agriculture. The fourth, that created new horizons of growth. And the fifth was devoted towards governance or government reforms and other matters. Now, and depending on the importance of this, the amount that was allocated, or on the face of it, the amount that was allocated was 5,000. The total amount that was allocated is 20 lakh crore, which it was said would amount to 10%, which it would say would amount to 10% of our GDP. I am really not aware why this figure 10% of GDP would come, because during that period of time, globally it was said that if you spend up to 10% of GDP, that would make economies to come out of the stress that the economies are in. But I would like to add here that the stress, the kind of stress India has, and the caseload that India has, that 10% of GDP was not enough to start with. Now, if I start disentangling what each of the tranches have started doing, the first tranche, as I said, it was towards MSMEs. For MSMEs, it was 5,94,550 crores was devoted. To migrants and farmers and poor, 3,10,000 crores was devoted. For agriculture, 1,50,000 crore was devoted. For new horizons of growth, 48,100 crore was devoted, and the rest, some few crores were devoted to governance reforms and other matters. This would take you to 11,000 crores. Then where was the rest? The rest was pumped into the economy in terms of policies by the Reserve Bank of India, which was already announced prior to these 5 tranches. This was 8,160 crore rupees. Now, this actually comprised the total package. Now, what kind of package do we call these packages? Whether it's a fiscal package, whether it's a monetary package, whether it's a relief package, or whether it's a growth-inducing package, or it's a reform package, that we need to understand now. Now, if you look at the largest amount that was devoted to the MSME sector, that is 5,94,550 crores. That is the second. Actually, RBI devoted much more than that, but RBI.
Sir, excuse me, sir. PPT is not presenting, sir.
No, PPT-টা এখন দেখাবো না, আমি একটু পরে আসছি PPT-তে। এখন আমি এখন বলছি, হ্যাঁ।
Okay, sorry.
Okay. PPT I will come to. Now, what it would say that this 5,94,550 crore, that was it's only second to the RBI package. The RBI package, if you note, it's mainly monetary policy. It's RBI is entrusted to do the monetary policy making in India. And by how did the RBI make the monetary policy package during the pandemic? It actually lowered the rate of interest through management of the repo rate and the reverse repo rate. The reverse repo rate was brought down sharply so that the bank, initially it's easier for the banks to borrow from the Reserve Bank of India, and then the banks should be in a profitable position to lend it back to the consumers. Here the consumers would primarily, those which are targeted are primarily the micro, small and medium enterprises. Now, if you look at the kind of package that you would look at, the micro, small, medium enterprise package, the first thing that was there is collateral free loans of 3 lakh crore. So, and then that would include NFBCs with some money. That would include, and these NFBCs, non-banking financial companies, they would in turn lend it to the micro, small, medium enterprises. Then there was some moratorium that was announced, and then there was some credit guarantee that was given. Then there was 20,000 crore subordinate debt. Now, MSMEs which already had NPAs at that time or had stressed assets, they will be given some additional 20,000 crore as subordinate debt, and that will be partially credit guarantee. The government will provide partial credit guarantee to banks. Then there was 50,000 crore equity infusion to the MSMEs through the banks, and then the MSMEs were protected by disallowing global tenders for companies, so that MSMEs are not in a disadvantaged position to compete with foreign firms. And now I can hasten to add, these are mainly Chinese firms. And then the government committed that the MSME dues would be cleared within 45 days, which are with the central public sector enterprises and the government. And then there was a reform package. What is the reform? That the MSME definition was changed. Why this MSME definition was changed? Because in order to make MSMEs possible to participate in the global value chain. Now, this is fine and good, but what it lacked? It lacked identification of the problem, because the MSME sector is one not uniform sector. The micro, which accounts for 99% of the MSME sector, is very heterogeneous. Then there is a small sector, and then there is the medium scale enterprises. The capacity of and the asset structure of all these are different. Then to reform this sector and to kick them up is actually a difficult proposition at this hour. Now, this MSMEs, whether irrespective of the kind of scale they have, whether they are micro, small, and medium enterprises, they face lack of demand, as well as lack of supply of materials, raw materials from the rest of the country, from the rest of the world. They also face lack of inputs from the rest of the world or the rest of the country. Now, in the face of that, mainly in the face of lack of demand, the MSMEs did not have enough incentive to go to the banks and to take loans from the banks. And there are surveys all over the country, different state governments and other agencies have done. It would show that only few of the MSMEs have taken loans. And let us see what kind of, this is April, the May figure which is latest available is no different. You would see that the credit growth in the MSME sector is still negative. For micro and small, it is minus 2.2 in April. It was negative and larger negative in May. For the medium also, it's minus 6.4% growth in credit. In April, it's little lower in May. But if you see the credit that was available during this period, the bank credit that was available mainly went to the large sector. So it further created inequality in the economy. There was an argument at that point of time that if the large grows, the large would pull the micro, small, and medium enterprises, these enterprises which essentially give raw materials to the large enterprises. And the case that was cited was the automobiles. The large automobile firms will derive products, will take products from micro, small, and medium enterprises. But that really did not happen because the demand in the economy was low. Now, this is why did it happen? Why it predominantly went to the large sector? It predominantly went to the large sector because the banks thought it is prudent of them to process prudent of them not to process several micro, small loans than to give it to a large enterprise. Then their transaction cost of providing loans would be lower if they provide loans to the micro, small, and medium enterprises and not to the large enterprises and not to the MSME sector. Now, the second thing, the MSMEs, these loans did not talk about infusion of grants to support losses of expenditure. What are the losses of expenditure? Losses and expenditure, the losses that are due to on account of fixed cost of these firms, and also the recurring cost, that is the wages, and finally what the entrepreneurs of the micro, soft and medium enterprises did, they stopped paying, most of them stopped paying to the wages to the poor workers, and there was joblessness, foodlessness, hunger, and lack of demand plummeted. And that also is possible because, as I said before, that created the inequality. And then there was plethora of schemes with overlapping objectives and small, which would require rationalization of schemes towards the small, medium enterprises. Now, if I come out of this slide, then what is, so for the medium, for the first tranche, which you would see much of the loans did not go till the first unlockdown. What did the government do? Government took a quick method so that they almost did a hand-holding with the governments, with the banks, large banks, and they tried to provide loans to the large banks without any collateral. And that would be done in a very short period of time. Now, the next thing that was there is, but what is running in this whole MSME business is a underlying theme of reforms, and which was not called for at that moment. What the MSMEs needed at that point of time, some hand-holding and some capital infusion, some giveaways, some to the MSME sector, which the government did not do. The government only tried to give it to the loans, to the banks, and I'm sure to tell you that they will ultimately get reflected as NPAs of the bank, because even if the MSMEs take loans, they will not be able to pay it back during the next 15 days, next 15 months. Now, what did the government do? The government also said that if you have a loan, you need not pay back. There is a moratorium. But the moratorium does not mean that you don't have to pay back the loans. The loans you have to pay back even during this year. So the debt burden of the MSMEs actually, if they take loans, that would, and if there is lack of demand in the economy, that would increase manifold. Now let me talk about the second tranche, that is for poor migrant workers and the farmers. Now, the cash that was allocated was for free food to migrant workers till middle of June, and now it is being extended up to November, but by then the migrant workers had started moving down. There was no assurance on the part of the central government as well as the state government to make the migrant workers stay back where they are and provide them free ration and free shelter. Free ration and free shelter, so that, or to give them wages, at least their wages that is due to them, so that they can shift back and do not shift back to where they belong in such miseries. And I need not repeat the story what has happened, the miseries of the migrant workers that we every day saw over the electronic media and that we read all over the news. What the government did, apart from a paltry sum of 3,500 crores for providing free ration, it again went in for certain reforms. And one reform which was needed, but I would argue that that was not the need of that hour. What was needed at that hour is some relief, and that is one nation, one ration card. That was one. And then provide rental accommodation for migrant workers and some investment for affordable housing to the tune of 70,000 crore. This 70,000 crore will be invested by the state government. The central government will provide, the state government will invest over a period of time. That was not, and the amount that was dedicated for rental accommodation, that is not earmarked. So whether the rental accommodation, because most of the workers could not provide or pay their rental accommodation, and the employers did not provide them with accommodation, and hence the migrant workers had to come back. Then they provided a paltry sum of 1,500 crores for Mudra Shishu loan. Street vendors were given rupees 5,000 crores, and tribals, but vendors were given a loan. And when there is no demand, again, loan would not work. Whom will they produce for? These loans would go for consumption. They would take the loan and they would consume it away. And only for tribals, as I presume, there was a very paltry sum that was dedicated, and that is 6,000 crores. Now, small and marginal farmers, for small and marginal farmers, it was earmarked 30,000 crores. And then concessional credit was given through PM Kisan credit card. Now, so you would see, even for small, for poor marginal farmers and migrant workers, the large part of the package that was, or relief that was given, it was in terms of loan and no giveaways. The government, I don't really understand why the government did not give a relief package of cash transfer to the poor at that point of time. The third package which came was for the food processing industries and allied activities, and here the most of the investment was for the infrastructure, from cold chain, development of cold chain, which cannot be taken care of in the short run, which cannot take care of production and restoration of supply in the short run, but it has to work over the medium term and the long term. And then for marine inland fisheries, for everything, there was for food processing and allied activities, whatever was the 1,50,000 crore that was earmarked, that was mainly in terms of building up of infrastructure, but that covered a large range of agriculture, food processing, and allied activities. So what you would see, that there was a underlying theme of reforms. The second was the way the government went about is through giving credit and not in terms of fiscal infusion that was needed. And what did the government really rely on? The government thought that if there are structural reforms in the economy, then the structural reforms will grow. As all of us would know from experience, structural reforms and other governance reforms do not yield results in the short run. There might be negative effects on the short run, and with lack of social security net, with the lack of social safety net in the short run, things would become worse, because the pandemic has already pushed the citizens of the country, the people in the country, to the back, and it did not take care of anything. Now, the 40,000 crores that was given in the fifth tranche, that was for the MNREGS. MNREGS was the only place where the government gave out large chunks of money, because the government thought the people who shift back, or there is reverse movement of migrant workers, then there would be lack of opportunities in the rural area. In the rural area, if work days are created, then only people can survive. And as a result, you would see all around in this Kharif season, when the monsoons are normal, with new crop season coming up, there is a lot of activity that is being generated in the agricultural sector, in the rural sector, and MNREGS has actually created a lot of mandates. But the amount that is earmarked for MNREGS, which is 40,000 crores, is not enough. So what you do, you bring back the workers to the rural area, give MNREGS a little more additional boosting. Apart from that was there, create more mandates, but that is not enough. What will happen to the urban sector? The government has remained completely silent on the urban sector. A flagship. This was, if the government had really wanted a large-scale investment, it should have gone for a large urban sector program, which is like the MNREGS, parallel to the MNREGS. Because if you remember the COVID, prior to the community spread, now there is a community spread. Prior to the community spread, the COVID was largely an urban disease. It had not moved to the rural sector. Now it's spreading to the rural sector, with movement of people back to the rural areas and all that, and with not adequate public health facilities, it's creating an havoc. But in the urban sector, there was not enough mandates that are being created. So the incentives to restart growth, even if the government says that they are seeing green shoots in the economy, if you open the newspaper, you would see that the economy is trying to become Atmanirbhar, and there are green shoots in the economy. I don't see any green shoots in the economy. These, whatever little green shoots appear, they are expected to appear as you gradually ease the lockdown. Now, this is what was expected of the government. What the government did not, it talked about packages, 10% of GDP. But if you look at the fiscal package, let me come to the last point. If you look at the fiscal, most of it is monetary package. If you look at the fiscal package per se, the fiscal package on the face of it would be 4%, only 4% of GDP, which is insufficient. And the one that is dedicated to health infrastructure still remains very low. It's not crossed the 1% of GDP mark. Second, that if you look at other sectors, like other social sector, there is no social sector spending whatsoever, education sector, which needs spending right at the moment for the education sector to restart. And if you do a back of the envelope calculation, that how much of the fiscal package has actually gone to the poor or gone to the sectors that is required, it is only 1.7%, which is appallingly bad. And why the government is not going for additional fiscal expenditure, additional subsidies, but instead it's going for reforms. Reforms are necessary. There was a policy paralysis in the second UPA regime. The government wants to come out of that syndrome, but this is not the need of the hour. I think the FRBM Act of the government, which was implemented in 2003, that is holding back the government. The government wants to show, despite having spent 10% of GDP, it is able to hold back fiscal deficit at 3% or 3.5% of GDP. That is not required. During times of crisis, let us go back to the Keynesian prescription. What is required is actually expenditure by the government. Unless the government spends not in consumer or current expenditure, but in capital expenditure partly, and in current expenditure in terms of wages, in terms of subsidies. If the government doesn't do that, the consumption in the economy will not resume. Private sector investment in the economy will not resume, and green shoots will die as green shoots. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It is our great pleasure to such illuminating lecture of yours, and as usual way, you cover all of the areas of the analysis, and there is a regional disparity in the Government of India packages we see by your lecture, and this is and more than 100 of participants with us, and on behalf of participants, we also thank to you. And now we are running a little bit late, and due to paucity of time, there are huge questions. Okay. And by your permission, can I ask some question on behalf of participants, sir?
Yes, definitely,
okay.
Definitely.
Okay, sir. Fine. So the first question, whether relevant measures in the Indian economy taken by Government of India during COVID-19 is more than enough. It is by Sharoj Prasad.
Can you please repeat the question? I could not hear. Just a minute, please. Sorry.
Yes. Whether relevant measures in the Indian economy taken by Government of India during COVID-19 is more than enough. This is the question, sir.
Thanks for this question. And if you had listened to my thing carefully, this is only tip of the iceberg, and this is not enough. This is not enough. In one word, if I answer you, this is not enough. There has to be more fiscal expenditure by the government, and the government is holding back fiscal expenditure. Most of it is in terms of credit disbursement, loans, and the government is actually not doing its duty, because there has to be a package in terms of cash transfers to the needy, to the poor, more ration for a larger period of time, more and more income generating methods, because full-fledged employment opportunities are not yet back on the economy. So consumption demand is the only way to kickstart the economy. The investment has to necessarily come from the private sector once consumption demand starts back in the economy. And that the consumption demand will be led by the government, because one, in terms of government consumption demand is in terms of paying wages. Government consumption demand has to be necessarily in terms of giving subsidies, transfers to the people. Not only, I argued, not only in terms of MNNREGS, MNNREGS has to be scaled up, and the next is the urban sector program has to be started, because it's the urban sector which is mostly devastative. If you let me argue that it's the urban sector which is more devastated than the rural sector. The rural sector is coming back to normalcy with normal monsoon, and hence whatever it has got, little more expenditure through MNREGA can revive the rural sector. But now what needs to be focused on, it's in terms of the urban sector, and urban infrastructure development program will not necessarily do the needful.
Thank you, sir. And there is another question relating to the MSME. Okay, sir. It is the question by Chinmay Goswami that whether MSME can be developed sufficiently with government initiatives to boost up the Indian economy without looking their problem at micro level in this pandemic situation.
Yes. Now, what the government has done, let me repeat, what the government has done is actually it has infused capital through the bank. Initially, it did not do any hand-holding with the financial sector to lend it to the micro, small and medium enterprises. But what the government should have done through the development banks of India, especially bank like the SIDBI, the government, which is a government bank, it should have done the hand-holding with the small medium enterprises thing, done a large credit guarantee scheme and given some capital infusion, direct capital transfer, which could have taken care of their losses in terms of wages that they had to pay, as well as the fixed cost, and that could have taken care of the MSME sector. Because in the time, if production has to restart, then what the MSME sector needs is working capital and demand. The demand will come from the rest of the economy. There are avenues to create demand, but for working capital, loans will not be sufficient. Because unless there is demand, the MSME sectors will not go to take loans, and banks also will be reluctant to provide loans, because that would amount to their NPAs at the end of the day, or that will increase their transaction costs for small loans. So what is required, that the government should have disbursed funds to the registered MSMEs through the Small Industries Development Bank of India.
Thank you, sir. And now this is the last question. There are huge questions. I am choosing the last question. Okay, for you. That's a question by Omia Bormon. What steps should be implemented by the government in this pandemic situation in our country?
Okay. This is almost a repeat of the first question. The government, in a crisis of this magnitude, the government's first duty, there are two things. First is to provide relief package. The government has provided some relief package that is not stimulus. There's a difference between relief and stimulus. The government has provided some relief package, but that is insufficient, as I argued. And then the government, the relief is being provided in the short term, the government should start increasing its expenditure over medium term and long term, so that there is this, and that is stimulus which can kickstart the economy. It has given incentives through the banks, to the central banks, but that is not enough for the economy to kickstart. So there has to be relief to start with, and then there has to be stimulus in terms of revival of the urban sector like the rural sector, by giving cash transfers to the urban poor, to the urban marginals, to the urban lower middle class. Unless you do that, these people, they will flip back to abject poverty.
Okay. Again, thank you, sir, for your presence here. Okay, thank you. And
thank you. Welcome.
Now, okay, thank you, sir.
Shantanu, I have another meeting in my department in the university. With your permission and the vice principal's permission, can I leave now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is our pleasure. Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Dear all participants, and now we come to the second session, a technical session of our program. Now, may I request to introduce our second speaker, Dr. Amit Mujumdar, by Professor Ruti Lashkar from Bhairab Ganguly College. Please, madam, introduce sir.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to all the dignitaries and learned participants. I deem it great honor to introduce our eminent speaker, Dr. Amit Mujumdar, the Associate Professor of Commerce and PG Coordinator, Vijay Krishna Girls College. Dr. Mujumdar is also a visiting professor, Department of Commerce, University of Calcutta, since almost 2 decades. Dr. Mujumdar holds MCom, MPhil first class first degree, MBA in Finance, PhD in Commerce and Management, and also PhD in Commerce. Presently, Dr. Mujumdar is supervising 4 scholars in PhD program from Department of Commerce, University of Calcutta. Out of them, one is in the process of submitting his thesis. Dr. Mujumdar had contributed more than 70 research papers in various research journals, books, edited volumes from different national and international publishers, and present papers in various national and international conferences. His area of interest are corporate governance, international business, strategic management, taxation, etc. Sir, we are extremely blessed to have you in our today's webinar. Sir, please illuminate us with your enlightened knowledge, augmenting thought-provoking session. Sir, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor Rosie Lashkar, and other dignitaries, the Vice Principal of the college, and also the learned participants, my dear students. Actually, today my area of discussion is on the new tax regime and how this old and new tax regime, that kind of a calculation will put us, especially the personal taxpayers, income taxpayer, on dilemma. What to do, which regime to select, and we need to make a judicious decision on that particular aspect. You know that the choice is very, very tough. We need to make it a judicious decision. And obviously, in my in today's discussion, I have planned to go for the 2 areas. The first one, obviously, on the tidbits of the old and new income tax regime, and to guide the taxpayers what to do And the second tab is basically for my dear students who are in this particular webinar, in order to provide them the guidance to take tax as a profession. Yes, this tax consultancy as a profession is a very lucrative one, and in the coming days it can give you a lot of income earning opportunity. And I'm also in my discussion I will want to do for both the things. So let me share my slide, and if you have any kind of a query, please free to ask me. I will also try, because since I'm presenting the slide, it's not possible for me to check out the chat box, and I will request Rosie Rashkar to read out the questions if someone is asking. And if in between my presentation, we can also ask the question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, am I visible? This particular screen is visible?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Yeah. And is there any problem regarding the audio?
No, sir.
Okay.
It is okay.
So this particular discussion, what I've decided, and I'll request my learned participant to please mute yourselves, because I'm going to present something very interesting, because I will take some live cases. I will use my income tax calculator. Those who have actually present, who were present in my last few presentation that I've made in Adamas University and Hooghly Machine College, they are quite aware about this particular fact that I used to take the live example and want to do the calculations with the help of the income tax calculator that had been customized by me. So I will do it, and obviously for the students also, I will show how to go for the e-filing process with the help of obviously the online and offline mode, and how to do it with the income tax calculator of the Excel utility software and the Java. If taking into consideration the paucity of the time. How much time I have been allotted, Rosie? 50 minutes, I think, the revised time. How
Yes,
much I can extend? How much I can extend? Because I don't know whether you have any other schedule in the.
No, sir. Sir, you can continue.
Okay.
After
Okay. Please. And if somebody are feeling boring, please give me the indication. Okay, I will stop. Okay. So let's start. This is about my scheme of presentation. I have decided to go for income tax planning, existing versus the new income tax regime, which actually will come into force from the previous year 2021. Yes, both the 2021 is there, but there is a little bit tax jargon is involved here. The students of the student of the commerce and those who are aware about the income tax, they are quite aware about this particular fact that this particular the first one is for this current previous year that is actually going on 2021, that will end on 1st April 2021. It is going on. It actually started from the 1st April 2020, and it will continue till 31st March 2021. So I'll go for the first one, that's about the income tax planning, and the second one is actually the one which actually been happened for the last previous year 1920, and how we can file the income tax for the assessment year 2021. So let's focus both the things, the income tax planning for the current year as well as the e-filing process for this particular year. Okay, so let's start the proceeding. So it is a new income tax regime. We know it very well. This income tax regime is actually coming to force on this February 2020, when our honorable Finance Minister Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman had announced an new income tax regime with so many income tax rates, but having a little bit disclaimer about the withdrawal of the deduction. So I will come into this particular point in later. What about the income tax? The new income tax regime will provide the exciting opportunities to go for that. But before that, a little quotation from Laurie Halse Anderson, one of the prominent author of our time, an American author. She had said that we need to be careful what you wish for, because there is always a catch. What I am wishing for, because you know it very well, whenever I am picking the rose, definitely you need to concern about the thorns. So this is the question, this is the issue that you need to understand. So it is about the personal income tax reform process that had been said by as I have actually been mentioned in case of Union Budget 2020. Actually, the Union Budget 2020 had mentioned that Nirmala Sitharaman that we need to think about the new tax regime with more tax slab and the lower income tax rates. But the most important thing is that it is a long-standing demand for the taxpayers, especially the middle class people, that we need to go for the salaried person, that we need to reduce the income tax rate. But obviously, I have already said there is a catch in between the wish. This catch is about the removal of deduction and exemption. So now I need to make a trade-off whether it is good or bad. Whether I should go for the old or new, the choice is mine. And the thing is very important that this is very optional in the scheme. So the optional thing means I can opt for new, or I can go for I can stick with the old one. But whatever the choice I have made, I need to make it very clear to my employer that I am taking the new tax regime for this year, or I will go for, suppose in this year I'm going for the new tax regime, but depending on my situation, my investment pattern, my income pattern, I've decided to go for in the next year the old tax regime. Yes, I'm allowed to go for that, because in each and every year I can change, I can shift from old to the new, and vice versa. But there is a point that a person who is not a salaried individual, if he is opting out from the new income tax regime, he can't go back to the old tax regime. He can't go back to the new tax regime once again in the coming days, because the thing is that for them, opting out from the new tax regime is full and final. For salaried individual, we can make a shift from old to new and vice versa. So this is the benefit for a salaried individual. They will have a choice. Now I'm going for the this particular section that had been introduced in the income tax regime, section 115 B and C, which will give the authority to the individual to choice for income tax regime depending on their income tax liability. That is, whether they want to find out the old tax regime is beneficial for them to reduce the tax liability, they will definitely move for that, or otherwise they'll move for the new tax regime. So these things is the things are very clear, and this opt-in and opt-out facility is available for every year. But mind that it had been not mentioned in the severity. It is preferable that the choice should not be changed within a particular year more than once. Although the implications have not been said, but the severity made it very clear in its circular in 13th April 2020. It is the responsibility of the employer to collect the information from the employee that which tax regime they will go for. And I have already mentioned non-salaried taxpayer can't go for a new tax regime once they will opt it out. So what are the roses? What are the income tax regime, new income tax regime that is actually provide me the excitement? The things that there you can see from the from this particular diagram. There are two things: existing tax rate and the new tax rate. Existing tax rate will actually said that this is a straightforward three tax rate: 5%, 20%, and 30%. Up to 5 lakhs is 5%, 5 lakh to 7.5, 7.5 to 10, it is 20%. Up above 10 lakhs, it is 30%. But here the tax slabs are different from up to 2.5 lakhs nil, but 2.5 to 5 lakhs. I'm not reading it out because you know it. You can. It is quite visible, and anyone can follow the income tax website and can have the idea of the income tax rate, what is there. But what I want to mean here, the income tax rate for individuals below 60 years, or income tax rate for the senior citizen below 80 years, or for the income tax rate for the super senior citizen above 80 years, it is uniform. There is no distinction being made. There is no differences as such made from the male to female to senior to super senior or non-senior. No distinction had been made. Simple 5%, 10%, 15%, 20, 25, 30. So those tax slabs, the rate had been mentioned, and depending on the income tax, you know that your gross total income, and based on after the deductions, your taxable income, it will be calculated as such. So this is the case. This is the things that have been mentioned. It is quite available in the income tax department website. And what are the thoughts are there? The things that they are very simple. Government had, in the new income tax regime, government had reduced actually not reduced, actually removed, wiped out the 70 exemptions, 70 popular exemptions and reactions, and over 100 exemptions I have already mentioned. And some of the deductions are very popular, like LTC, like HRA, like deduction under Section 80C, CC. We know that the NPS, everything, 80G, the donation, 80GGA, donation to political party or rent, everything had been wiped away. 80E, educational loan facility, Mediclaim, 80D, everything actually being removed in the new income tax regime. Moreover, the popular standard deduction of ₹50,000 is also not being allowed in the new income tax regime. Only one deduction, among the few, so the one of the deduction that had been allowed is under Section 80 CCT subsection 2. That is employer's contribution on account of employee in a notified pension scheme. That is not my contribution. If my employer is also contributing the matching amount up to 10% of basic, and the day that particular allowable amount up to ₹7.5 lakhs, that thing I can claim. That is the employer's contribution on account of the employees in the notified pension scheme, like either EPF or NPS, National Pension Scheme, anywhere, or the government is your employees contributing to this particular extent, then you can allow that can be allowed. Other cases, not simply being allowed. And Section 80 JJA, it is for the new employment, is an opportunity actually being provided to the actually encouragement provided to the startups they can claim deduction for their for the salary paid to the new new employees. So that is the exemptions and the deductions that the employers that they can actually claim for that particular aspect. So this is the exemption and deduction under old and new income tax regime. You can see that those are the popular old income tax regime deductions available. I have already mentioned, but in income tax regime, almost all have been wiped away, all being removed. Only a few tax exemptions like the standard deduction on rent, the VRS on the retrenchment schemes, the conveyance allowance received for official purpose, agricultural income, income from life insurance, that is a life insurance, that is the policy maturity amount, that had only the Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, those things had already been leave encashment or retirement, gratuity, commuted pension, those are being allowed, not the other things. The HRA, house rent allowances, everything had been removed in the new income tax regime. And also I have already mentioned 80 deduction already being removed, only 80 CCT is there, and 80 JJS for the new employment made by the employer to the salary that had been paid to the employees. So how to make the choice of applicable tax regime? I'm showing a flow chart where it can be easily understood from that particular thing. What you need to do before you make your announcement, your declaration to the employer that I want to go for old or new, whatever you want to do, you need to make a computation. A detailed computation is required. First, you need to compute your tax liability as per the old tax regime. Then you need to compute your tax liability as per the new tax regime. Then make the comparison between the two. I need to find out whichever is lower. And you need to make a declaration. I am going for the old or new, whatever, as per your choice, as per your, obviously, the reduction of the tax liability. And you need to accordingly file a return after the end of the assessment year. After the end of the previous year, and obviously in this particular relevant to the assessment year, you need to file the return. And obviously, you know that the due date for return is 31st July, but this year, due to the pandemic situation, it has been extended to the 30th November for the next year. But it is not applicable for this year. It will be applicable for the next year. Hope that the situation will be normalized, and if the situation will normalize, the due date of return, you know it is the 31st July. You need to file your return accordingly for the previous year, 2021. So this is now I am going for some live cases. I will show with those examples so that you can understand. There I have taken the 4 cases. I have taken the 4 case study. Those are the case study depending on the various permutation and combination of the SSC. You can do it by your own. And I want why I am showing those 4 case studies. Why I am not sticking to the one, because there is no ready-made answer. I can't give you, there is no magic wand in my hand. I can say you should, or not forget about me, and not in the hand of anyone. They can't say you should go for old or new. It is not a case. It varies from case to case. It varies from person to person. It depends on your income level. It depends on your expenditure pattern. It depends on your investment pattern, and based on that, I need to make the calculations which is the best suitable, which tax regime is best suitable for you. So there is no, if some of the ready reckoner is there, someone is saying this thing or that thing, mind that those claims are bogus. It varies from case to case. You need to, again, I have actually shown you the flowchart. Based on this flowchart, you need to go for that. Calculate yourself. Depend on yourself. Don't depend on anyone else. Don't depend on me. Don't depend on anyone else. Don't depend. Just do it by yourself. Then you can take your decisions, which is the best suitable for you. So that is, here I am taking a scenario 1. This person earning is about this much. His deduction is this much. This thing on that thing is there. Now we need to calculate which one is which is the best suitable. I am going for the tax calculator. This is the tax calculator I am showing you. These are there are 3 sheets are there: old regime, new regime, and the comparative chart. This is the new regime calculation, the old regime calculation. Then I will go for the comparative analysis. So let's put the figure. It is Mr. is earning rupees 8 lakhs. So I need to just I just want to just put the figure in this particular box. 8 lakhs. So you may ask me why, sir, is given the standard deduction, because you know that irrespective of the cases, any under section when the person is filing the income tax return under ITR 1, ITR 1 is applicable for the salaried individual and a person having income from house property from only one house property. So for that person, an income, obviously his salary income is less than 50 lakhs, he will find the income tax return ITR 1. I think the persons who are attending to today's webinar will definitely belong to this ITR 1 category. Most of you are will definitely actually under the purview of the ITR 1. So this is the case. What I have said, this income I put, it is 8 lakh. And now let us find out which is is EPF is 25,000. You know that EPF, it will come under section 80C. So EPF will come rupees 25,000. Let us put this figure. And again, I need to find out his HRA is 30,000 and his LTA he is claiming 25,000. Together it is 30 plus 25, 55,000. So let us put it there in the under Income Tax Act under exemption under section 1010A. It is 55,000. So you can see it from there. My tax calculator have actually, I need to show by default it is mail. I'm taking the mail and it is the income tax liability is 48,360. This is the income tax ratio. How you can do the HRA calculations and other things are there available. I'm not showing that thing in the detail of all those things. Only the tax liability 48,360. Now I'm going for the new tax regime. Straightforward, I need to put only 8 lakhs, nothing else, because we'll not entitled to claim any kind of deductions. And for new tax regime, it is uniform. Male, female, senior citizen, very senior, same thing will be there. So his tax liability is 46,800. Let us go for the comparative chart. You can see the comparative chart is automatically auto-populated. It is actually being auto-populated. You can see it from there. Tax regime under old, it is 48,360. New tax regime, it is 46,800. So if I am going for the new tax regime, I can reduce my tax liability to the extent of rupees 1560. Now you may ask me, sir, your calculation is right or wrong. Let us see from the Income Tax Department website. This is Income Tax Department website. It is an income tax calculator for the resident individual 2021. You can see it from this slide. Is the slide visible, Rosie? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Visible. Yes, sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Visible.
Yeah. Thank you. So you can see it from the slide that it is the Income Tax Department calculator. This is the official calculator of Income Tax Department site. You can see it from there, but there's a disclaimer is mentioned because this particular calculator will give you only the bird's eye view, not in detail. The calculation is there, so they have been mentioned. This calculator that is only meant for the basic idea, not the estimated income of the new provisions. The detail you need to go for your own calculation that I have made in my sheet. So there is a below 60 years normal citizen, I presume. And what is his income? We know it very well. His income is rupees 8 lakhs. So his income is rupees 8 lakhs. You can see it from there. So I'm putting the figure 8 lakhs. And how much exemptions and deductions is claiming for the old? Less exemptions and deduction. There is a star, and this star means they have mentioned it, deductions and exemptions eligible as per old regime. And what is the deduction and exemptions eligible as per the old regime? Let us see. You can see it. Sorry, it is the income tax. I will show it later. These are your exemptions. You have calculated 55,000, standard deduction 50,000, and your etc deduction 25,000. There is EPF, HRA, LTA, and your standard deduction. Together it is 1,30,000. Okay, 55, 50 plus 25. This is 1,30,000. So let us put the figure there. Go back to the figure 1,30,000. Now just compare tax, and you can see from there income tax department side, tax payable as per old regime 48,360, and tax payable as per new regime 46,800. Now let us move to my comparative chart. You can see it from there. It is absolutely right. 48,360, 46,800, and it is tax benefit as per the new regime is 1,560. And you can see it from there. If I choose the tax or new tax regime, I will be able to save my tax to the extent of 1,560. For that person, I will advise definitely he should go for the new tax regime. So this is the things that I have already mentioned. Let us take another scenario. Scenario 2. This person claim all major exemptions and few deductions. Let us put again, go back to the my chart. Let us put the figure old regime. What is his income? His earning is 13 lakhs. So let us put the figure 13 lakhs. Fine. Then I contributes towards EPF. He's claiming all major exemptions and few deductions. EPF is 25,000 and invested 40,000 in tax savings mutual fund and LIC also. So that those three things will come under the purview of 80C. You know that 80C 25,000 plus 40,000 plus 10,000. So 50 plus 25, that is the 75,000. So let us put the figure 75,000 under section 80C. Now go back to again the HRA, exemptions part. Is eligible to claim exemption 30,000 in HRA, got it, LTA 20,000 and 26,400 food coupons respectively in his taxable income. Yes, food coupons and other things is quite allowable under old tax regime, but the new tax regime, those three things are not allowable. So 30,000 plus 20, 50,000 plus 26, it is the 76,400. So let us put the figure again there. This will be 76,400. So I have actually given the information. You can get the idea that it's automatically calculated. His total tax liability under the old tax regime is 154,003. Let us put the figure in the new tax regime. Let us put the figure in the new tax regime, and the calculator will do the calculation by himself. This is a 13 lakhs by itself. It will do it. So I need to put the figure only 13 lakhs. Only 13 lakhs. And you can have the idea what is his tax liability, 1,43,000. Now go for the comparative chart. You can see it again. It is auto-populated. Tax as per the new tax regime is 1,43,000. Tax as per the old tax regime is 1,54,003. So if he will go for the new tax regime, he can make a tax savings of 11,003. And again, you can make a you can check it for the income tax department website by the step I have shown you. But due to the paucity of time, I'm not showing it because my the calculation that I have done with the help of the tax calculator is it is actually error free. So fine. Now go for the third one. So I will advise this person to go for new tax regime. Now take the scenario 3. This person had actually availed all major exemptions and deductions. So let us see what tax regime I will prescribe. Let us go for again scenario 3. His earning is 20 lakhs. That had been mentioned. His earning is 20 lakhs. So let us put the figure under the old tax regime. It is 20 lakhs. Fine. Let us go back to the chart, to the case study. You can see that he avails full INR 1,50,000 under section 80C and combination of EPF LIC. So I need not to worry. I just want to put the figure 1,50,000 there. So it will come to this effort. So 1,50,000 is given, and again you can see it from there. He is also had health insurance for which a premium had been paid 25,000, and he claims that deduction under ITD. You know that it is allowable up to rupees 1 lakh, depending on the situation. If you are also a senior citizen and your parents is also parents are also senior citizen, you can also claim for Mediclaim insurance premium, but under new tax regime, this is not there. So I put the figure 25,000, and he had made also additional investment to 30,000 to NPS, and you know it very well. It is as per ATCCT 1B. You can claim for voluntary your voluntary contribution to the national pension scheme. You can claim deduction up to rupees 50,000, but this person had only made initial additional investment of rupees 30,000. So I just want to put the actual figure 30,000 or 50,000 with maximum amount, whichever is lower. So it is 30,000, and you can see it from there. There is no other things. LTA 25,000, which is tax exempted. He is also HRA 50,000. So total LT and the HR is also it will definitely come under section 10A. So I have to put 75,000 in there, exemption under section 10A. Now you can see it from there. It has been automatically calculated 3,26,040. It is a income tax liability under old. Now put the figure in the new. What is his income? Let us check it out again. 20 lakhs. So let us put the figure 20 lakhs there. Sorry, 20 lakhs. Now you can see that it is automatically calculated. 3 lakh. The calculator shows that his tax liability is 3,51,000. Now go for the comparative chart. You can see it from there. Existing tax rate as per the tax liability as per the old 3,26,040. New tax regime 3,51,000. So this person, if I will advise him to go for the old, it will be beneficial. He can save tax to the extent of 24,960. So for this person, it is advisable to go for to stick with the old tax regime or go for the old tax regime. Last one, let us take the example of the senior citizen. A senior citizen assessee, his earning income is 9 lakhs annually as pension, and other things are there. Let us see the information. Let us put it in the directly to the income tax department site. We can just put it there. Let us put the figure, actual figure. His earning income is 9 lakhs via pension. Let us put the figure. Pension is 9 lakhs. Very good. He avails full 1,50,000 as a deduction under section 80C. Let us also put the figure 1,50,000. It is already given in the same. It is identical with the previous one. Now he has also claiming a premium of 25,000. I need to put it figure the full premium, full amount, because he is entitled to claim up to rupees 50,000. You know that. So 25,000 he had actually invested. So actual amount I need to put it there. So let us go back again. Any other? Yeah, he is also claiming the interest from the savings bank account. It is up to 50,000 is available for the senior citizen, and he is claiming only rupees 25,000. So let us put it there. No NPS. Sorry. There is a no NPS. It is 0. Let us put the figure 80. It is 80. Just read it as a 80TTP. So there is no exemptions. Put it 0, because you know that. this person is not in the service. So I have put all the figures: 9 lakhs, 1,50,000, 25,000 premium ATD, and ATTTB 25,000. So it is gone. So now let us come to the tax calculator, but here I need to make a little bit changes because he's a senior citizen. So the calculation will be different. So it is 41,600. So let us go for the new tax regime. Let us go for new tax regime. His income is, let us check the income. It is 9 lakhs. So put the figure there, 9 lakhs. And I need to, it will not make any difference. You can see the tax liabilities 62,400. Let us change it to the senior citizen. Just see that it will remain same. So let us see the comparative chart. You can see the figure. If the old senior citizen, if he will stick with the old tax regime, it will be 41,600. If he will go for the new tax regime, it will be, the tax liability will be higher. So for him, it is advisable to go for the old tax regime or stick with the old tax regime, 20,800. So this is actually, in a nutshell, I know that I've just shown the 4 cases. I can take the n number of cases. Result will be n number. So that is the case that I have mentioned. Points to be considered for making a choice of efficient personal tax planning. You need to make a plan well ahead. You need to make a plan whether you will go for the new one or will stick with the old one, or whether you will go for switch over, old or new. It depends upon your choice, because those things are very important. Those issues are very important. First one, income structure. Second one, your investment habit. Third one, your age, your responsibility, your life status, your lifestyle, your goals. Those things are also the expenditure pattern that is required in the coming days. So things are very important, and that is advisable that your future investment planning is very important for long term. Don't think about a short term benefit in order to avail the short term benefit of reducing tax liability. You are just sacrificing your investment. It is not advisable. You need to take your judicious decision. So I have concluded my first part. I am going for the next part. It is basically, I have said it is exciting opportunity for the students. I am going through in a very quick manner, taking into consideration the paucity of time, the e-filing of income tax return. And for the students, it will have an exciting opportunity to provide the income tax guidance to the person. You can easily claim, you can easily charge the money, you can easily charge the consultation fees for filing of income tax return. And I will advise you to take, if you are not interested to go for the full, it will give you both full-time and the part-time profession. It actually, or obviously seasonal profession also, you can say like this. So just take this opportunity. It will give you a handsome pocket money. So there are 2 processes of income tax return filing. It can be the offline, and another one is the online mode. The offline mode, although it is said offline mode, but I will advise you to do it with the offline mode, because in online mode, if you are making any kind of a mistakes and you are just submitting it, then there is no other, chance to look back. You need to again go for the revised income tax return if you have submitted the income tax return within the due date. So again, there is a tedious process. So that is why it is advisable to make the calculations in the offline mode. Once you are satisfied, then do it in the online mode. But if someone is confident, I can do it in online mode, they can do it directly, no problem whatsoever. So offline mode, it can done in the through 2 ways. The one is the traditional ways through Excel utility software, and the second one is through the Java utilities. But for the Java utilities, you should have the Java runtime environment in your installed in your machine. GRE 8.0 should be installed in your machine. Then you can easily do the calculation with the Java environment. But the Excel utility software, you can, if you need to have a MS Excel version 97 2003 onwards, so you can do it easily. And the online mode, I have already said, it is through logging to the income tax department website. I'll show you all the things in a very quick manner. It is the flowchart that will give you an idea how to file the income tax return through the Excel utility software. You need to download this particular software from income tax department site. You need to unzip it. It is a zip file. You need to unzip it, and you need to just run this program. And this particular Excel program, if you want to run it, you need to enable the macro. Unless and until you enable the macro, it cannot by default the macro is disabled in the Excel, and in order to run this this particular software in a very right manner, you need to enable this macro, otherwise the software can't run properly. And the things are there. You need to fill up all the ITR forms, mandatory field, and you need to validate it. And finally, you need to generate the XML, because the system can't read the normal, PDF or Word, that kind of a file. They can only read the extensible machine languages, that is the interactive languages, those versions XML. You need to convert it and you need to save it in the XML version. This XML you need to upload it in the income tax department website by logging through your PAN and the ID. So if you want to do in the Java, and the same process, need to download the Java software, unzip it, run it, and this itr.jar file cannot be run unless and until you have the Java runtime environment enabled in your system. Then you need to obviously download the latest version of the Java and do it. And again, the same process, fill up the mandatory field and generate and save the XML, and then that particular XML you need to upload. And what is the direct e-filing process? You need to just go to the income tax department site, log in with your PAN and your password. You need to do it, all the calculations in online mode, just submit it, and everything will be there and preview and submit it. That's all. That's all from there. That's some of the changes that have been made in ITR 1. I need to mention here. This is very vital because this is the first time in the assessment year 2020-21. Those things have been made, included in the income tax return form 1. Those are things are that new category of the employment had been included for the non-applicable for the family pension. And the second one, if someone is submitting return under certain income tax return notice, they need to mention also the DIN number, unique document identification number. And those things are very new for the first time. The first time it had been introduced, 7 provision to the section 139 subsection 1, where the persons, whether this person, irrespective of the fact that he or she is not earning any taxable income, but he falls under these 3 categories, they need to mandatorily submit income tax return and also mention the exact amount. What are the 3 categories? The number 1, if you have deposited more than ₹1 crore in the last in your current account in the last previous year, or if you have incurred expenditure in the foreign travel more than ₹2 lakhs for yourself or for any other person, or there is actually accompanied you, you need to also file the ITR 1, and the amount of expenditure that we have made, you need to make it very clear discussion. And the third one is, if your electricity bill is more than 1 lakh in the last year, you need to also mention it. And this is the new introduction. You know that it is as per the requirement of the Finance Act 2019. That is a new sections that were introduced in the Finance Act 2019. That is section 80A and 80EB. It is for the affordable housing, and where you can also claim any problem. Noise is coming from the background. Please unmute yourself. Please don't unmute yourself when the presentation is going on. Okay. Thank you. So the section is 80EA and 80EB is like this. 80 is for the affordable housing loan. You can claim over and above ₹2 lakhs that you have claimed under section 24B. That is the income from house property. If you have any affordable housing loan, that is in a particular metropolitan cities, you are taking loan from the banks. There are 675 or 750 square foot and other things are there. So those are the conditions available, and where you can also, if those house property will fall these particular conditions, you can also claim over and above ₹2 lakh, that is 1,50,000 ever. So together you can claim 3,50,000, but you need to, if you want to avail this section 80EA, you need to fulfill the conditions that had been laid down in section 80EA for the interest for the first time housing in a affordable housing scheme. And EEB is for the if you have taken the loan for purchase of any electronic vehicle, you can also claim under the deduction under section 80 for the interest amount. It is also rupees 1,50,000. Those two sections have been introduced as per the Finance Act 2019. And in case of there's a new case is also introduced that if, previously, if you have the more than one bank account, you need to mention which bank account you need to ask for the refund. Now here you need not to mention. It's not mandatory. Income tax department can put the refund in any bank account as per their choice. But if you are not making the choice, the income tax department can give them the things are like this. Now, this is the please take these things very on a serious note. Since the history of the Income Tax Act from the 1961, it had never happened. This is first time happened in income tax history. This is due to the pandemic situation, COVID-19. It is the thing is like this. It is not that the lockdown, first phase of lockdown had started before the end of our financial year, 31st March 2020. So that's why, and I know that the people are having a lot of financial crunch in this particular period. So government had given the chance to the taxpayer. They can claim the deduction that they have made during the period from 1st April 2020 to 31st July 2020. That time limit had been extended from 30th June to 31st July. If you have made any kind of a investment or contribution or anything, any donation in this particular period, you have the flexibility to claim deduction for that particular period for the last concluded previous year, 2019-20. Previously, previously it is not possible. It had been, you know it very well, the income that you have made from 1st April to 31st March and the expenditures you have made or deductions or donations, whatever you have made from 1st April to 31st March, that will only be considered. But for the first time in the Indian income tax history, that particular time period had been extended. It depends on your choice. You can make the choice or you can't. If you want to make the choice, you need to declare, or otherwise you simply skip it. That means your income will stay from 1st April 2019 to 31st March 2020. That will be calculated, but your expenditure or savings or donations extended from 1st April 2019 to 31st July instead of 31st March, 31st July 2020. That means within that period, if you are making an investment, you can still claim deductions for the last previous year, concluded previous year. So that had been made for the pandemic situation, COVID-19. Another new schedule, ATP, had been introduced where you need to make a detailed statement of the health insurance or health expenditure that you have made for your life as well as for your parents' life. I had mentioned up to 1 lakh you can claim. Depending on the situation, you are also a senior citizen and your parents are also senior citizen. You can claim, but you need to make it very clear. What are the expenses you have made for yourself and what are the expenses you have made for your parents? So another thing, it is newer things have been introduced, and from the 28th May, you know that 26A is the tax passbook, and you need, before submitting of income tax return, you need to check your 26As, where the TDS information, tax deducted deduction that has been actually deducted at source by your employer, by your bank, or by anyone. That will be made very detailed. But here, it has been, this 26As will be replaced with a new one. It's called the AIS, Annual Information Statement, under section 285 BB. And this rule is introduced. 26, the nomenclature had changed, but the things are like this. Till date, you have the 26As, you can see it. Those are the 7 parts in the 26As, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You can see it from there. Detailed information and details of SFT, Statement of Financial Transaction. that had been reported, that you need to make it, you need to report that had actually been made for if you are making any demand draft over rupees 10 lakhs, any cash deposit over rupees 50 lakhs, or mutual fund, or shares, wherever you have invested over rupees 10 lakhs, everything that will be mentioned in your AIS. Previously, in 26As, we used to see only the informations of my TDS being deducted by an employer or the banks for my fixed deposits. Now everything will be reflected. Everything, your total investment in shares, your bonds, your mutual funds, because it is 26As is no more. The new things comes into the town. It's called the AIS, Annual Information Statement. So we are all living under the tax net. So everything will come into our tax net. The income that will made, the things I have made with my PAN, everything will come, and it is very transparency should be there. And we are talking about everywhere we are talking about the black money, the prevention of black money, and other things. That things will also be taken care into consideration. But let us see what will happen in the coming days. This is a case study I am taking into consideration. The e-filing of income tax return using Excel utility and the direct login. I'll show the. I will not show the direct login in detail because here I'm taking those are the figures, the dummy figures, the hypothetical figures. So let us see the case study again. The live cases. Let us see it, please. This is I want to show you from the first. Where you can download the in offline mode. What you need to do, it is the Income Tax India's official website. You need to go to there. This IT return preparation software. Is it visible to everyone? Can you see the screen?
Yes,
Hello?
sir, visible. Yes, sir,
Yeah.
visible.
I'm just extending it. Those who are seeing from the mobile, they can see it very clearly. In the right hand side, there is a download button. This is IT return preparation software, and other forms are there. You need to just click on the IT return preparation software. You just click there, and a new page will open, and where the informations will contain all those informations regarding your income tax return. The things like this Excel and the Java, everything will be available. You can see it. You need to follow the instructions. Those are the Java utility and the Excel utility. Both will be available. Right now, only the three versions are available: ITR 1, 2, and 4. You know that there are a lot of ITR 2, 4, that ITR 5, 6, 7. Those are things are there. But I have said it is only for the personal income tax planning. I have restricted my discussion only ITR 1. So things are like this. In the ITR 1, you can see that those are the two buttons are there: Excel and Java utility. You need just click there, and you can it will be automatically downloaded. This is a software. It will be automatically downloaded to your folder, and just to download it. And so once it is downloaded, you need to extract the file. You need to just extract the file. Just see that particular file. It will be extracted. This will be there, ITR 1, and you need to extract this file with the help of your Java. You need to unzip it, and after unzipping, that folder will come. I'm not showing the unzipping part, and this will come into your ITR. And this is the ITR. You can see it from there. This is your ITR, ITR 1. These things, and you can see it from there. I am just showing it. There is security warnings. Macros have been disabled. By default, it's been disabled. So you need to enable it. Otherwise, this software can't run properly. When you will enable it, the information will come. This utility for assessment here, these things. Green cells, you need to only put the information in the green cell. Only those are the green cell. In the white cell, you can't do anything. Red levels are mandatory. You can see the flag door is a mandatory, but name of the premises are not mandatory. Caution: do not use Control X or Control V or cut copy paste while data entry. You need to manually type everything. Okay. So and there are some buttons are there. There are some buttons are there available. You can see it from there, on the right hand side. Those are the buttons. You can see it there. Validate, next, calculate tax, generate XML, import from Excel utility of the same year, import from XML, help and print. You need to put the validate to check whether you have put all the data in the right way. Next, for the next sheet, you can see that there are a lot of sheets are there. There are TDS sheets. This is for the TDS, tax deducted at source. TCS for tax collected by you at source. It is tax paid, paid and verification is the third. It is the fourth sheet. DI, that point that I mentioned, details of investment applicable for this particular the previous year. You know it very well, 1920 for the COVID-19 pandemic situation. 80D, I have already mentioned the medical expenditure that were to made it very clear. 80G, it was previously there. It is for the donation. 80 GGA for your scientific research and the rural development. You have made anything, so you need to put all those figures. So I have to put all those figures. I'm just putting it, in order to I can just put all those figures. I can just write down all those figures like this way. I'm just putting my name and other things. I'm putting those informations, my PAN card and other thing, PAN card number and other things, Aadhaar number, everything I need to put, and Aadhaar enrollment ID if I don't have. So I can put it, but there are other for the students. I will advise you should write down. You should put. You should. It had been mentioned. Don't go for cut, copy, paste. It is not allowable in this particular software. You need to type it manual. You will have this type of the information in the from the person. You need to put it in the Excel software, and you can calculate that tax by just clicking this button. This particular site, Income Tax Department official site, it is given. The software is available. You can do it. And but there is a shortcut route. What is a shortcut route? This is the short. Those two are the shortcut routes. Import from Excel utility of the same year. It is not applicable because import from Excel utilities of same year means already you have already done the calculation for someone else. You have already put all those data, all the hard work you have done. Now you are importing it. You can do it, or you can import from the XML. This is the most prevalent things that I am showing to you. Import from XML. For that purpose, I have to log in. Where I can get the XML? Already filled XML. I have already mentioned in detail income tax network. Under your income tax network, everything will be there. Income tax department, and by using their PAN card, and now PAN card and Aadhaar card mandatory, the seeding is mandatory. You know it very well. So the things are very simple. Whatever the investment you have made, whatever the things you have committed, whatever the income you have earned, everything will be the income tax department server, and XML are actually being prepared from that. So what you need to do, there is a shortcut route. I want to show you the shortcut route. You can get the XML. You can download the XML. Where to download the XML? You need to log into the income tax department site by using your ID and password that I have shown to you, using your ID, password, and the captcha, and then you can download this thing. You can see it from there. And just enlarging the screen so that you can see it properly. Sorry, it's a little bit more enlarged. 150 is not fine. You can just put it there. You can see it there. Is it visible, Rosie? Hello?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can see it from there. Download pre-filled XML. Your income tax department site by in where you have logged in this particular site. This download pre-filled XML is already available in income tax department server. You need to do what you need to do. You need to select your assessment year 2021. You need to choose your ITR. You need to continue, and that will be automatically downloaded. Your XML will be automatic. You can see it from there. Your PAN, name, date of birth, address, tax payment, TDS, salary income, allowances, types of house property, your income from house property, your interest income, everything, tax relief, bank account details, verification, everything will come. Your number of bank account, everything will come. And you need to just agree it and just continue. And you will check it there. The XML will be automatically downloaded. XML will be downloaded. You can see it there. XML had already been downloaded. Now check out this XML. And XML, you can't read the XML properly. It is not just like a Word or Excel file. It is, I have already mentioned, extensible markup languages. It is interactive languages used in the, it is actually hyperlinked. You can see it from there. This is my XML file. All those informations are there. It is embedded in the site. My email ID, my email address, my information, so my alternative email address, my alternative phone number, my income, my bank account details, my salary information, everything is there. So what I need to do, I need to just do this thing. Import from XML. Import from XML. You need to just click there. Import personal tax. You need to download it. I have already downloaded. So need to just click there. Import from the XML. And your XML that you have downloaded there, you can easily do all those hard works because you have already downloaded your XML in a detail. What is your XML? You can see it from that again. It is your XML. So I'm just doing the calculation. Sorry. Yeah. It is my XML. And just now it has been imported. You can see that I am not doing anything. Automatically it's auto-populated. Everything is auto-populated. Importing XML, importing verification details. You can see that all those informations, bank account, everything is being auto-populated. System will automate. So it's a shortcut route. You are not manually typing anything. Everything will be auto-populated. But one thing, you need to calculate tax every time. Calculation of tax is required. Calculation tax is required. Otherwise, you can't do it. So those are the two paths. One is called the path of going for your the manual input in the Excel. It is already been already filled up. Already filled. Please verify the data field. So you need to validate. You need to check, verify. I need to check it. Validate. It is selected options. You are not otherwise because I have already said to you. These things is very important. That I am not going elsewhere. That point is 7th proviso of the income tax department side. 7th proviso. This 7th proviso. What is this? This is your 7th proviso of income tax department side. This is the case. You need to put. I am not filling up that thing. Sorry. I need to put no. I am not going for any kind of. I have not visited abroad. I have not invested 10 lakhs on other things. I don't have any electricity bill or other information. So I need to just here, I need to put no. If it is yes, then you need to put all the things. You have deposited 1 crore, 2 lakhs expenditure in the foreign, 1 lakh expenditure for the electricity in the last year. So you need to put all this. So there is no, so I need not to do anything. So you need to validate. It is okay. You can see it there. So next page, TDS page. You need to verify. Okay, it's given, already being populated. Okay. TCS, I am not collecting anyone, so it is not required. Taxes paid and verifications. I need to only write down my page. It is how just putting it, and I am just verifying it. It is my own capacity self. I am doing it. I am putting the income tax department return by myself. So I need to validate. Please select at least one account. I need to select at least one. Suppose I am selecting at least one account. It is for the offline mode. With the online mode, it is not required. It is validated. It is okay. Now what to do? I need to go back. I need to just 80DI nothing, 80D nothing, 80E nothing. And suppose I'm not putting anything. I don't have any donations. I don't have any Mediclaim and other things. Now just calculate tax. Just you need to calculate whether your I need to say whether I don't have any. No. I am just putting it no. So just to calculate it. Income tax. Is senior citizen is 80D. Here also no. I just put it those figures. 80D is okay. Now calculate tax. Tax is being calculated. You can see it from there. So it is okay. Now see that informations. My income tax is calculated. It is 0. Nothing you need to pay. Suppose those are the dummy figure I have said. So it is income tax is act is 0, and I am claiming the refund of this much. Refund is 15,870. Since I have not put anything, that's those things are paid. So what I need to do after that, I need to generate XML. I need to just generate XML. That is the last step of my deduction. Generate XML. I have actually calculated, and I need to save the XML. Please mute yourself. This humming is coming from someone else. Yeah. So I have set this XML, and what I need to do, I just need to go to the again. This is the last step. I need to go to my income tax department pages. So I am going to there. I am going to my dashboard. I am filing my return. View and form. It is for offline mode. I am filing the return. Income tax return. Submit. This is the online mode. I will show you again. Those are the things. Sorry. Those are the income tax return I have done for the last previous year. I have shown all those things. So assessment year 2020-21, ITR 1, filing type, I need to original or revised. Submission, those things are there online and offline. In offline, you need to upload XML. Upload XML button, you need to go. There is electronic verification, whether you need to go for electronic verification or you can do it manually. And you need to just go for agree. And if you are going for agree, you just the XML file that you have generated, you need to just put it there. Those things will be done. And if you are doing it in online mode, I will not do online mode because I have told you in online mode, and just since I am putting the dummy data, those informations I will not submit it, but I will just show you. Those are the for an online mode. Those are the informations of my basic information. Those are the income tax information, income information. Those are the tax information. Tax verification that have done in the offline mode, the same in the online mode. Schedule DI, 80D, 80G, 80GGA. And what I need to do, I need to go to there again, same thing. I need to select the capacity. I need to put the place, and then what I need to do, I need to submit, preview and submit. That's all. So this is the two modes I have, online mode and offline mode. I can go by any mode, based on my choice. So this is the case I've actually shown you. Those are the things, and for the students, it is an exciting job opportunity for you. You can be a tax planner, you can be a tax return preparer, or you can be an investment advisor. And in this income tax calculations, income tax advising operations of the services, concerning services, you can do it, and it can definitely give you a handsome amount of pocket money. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, just please feel to ask me. Thank you. I'm done.
Thank you, sir. And this is now the question and answer session. And may I request Dr. Surojit Sengupta of our college to conduct this session.
Thank you, Shantanu. Thank you. Welcome, sir. Rosie, madam, please conduct question answer session because some visibility problem occurs from me.
Okay, sir. No problem. I will go continue. Sir, thank you for your knowledge augmenting session, and this old and new regime has been just cleared, not cleared from to many persons. And it's now, I think after this session, it will be really, really helpful for them, and they can just plan their own, their tax planning they themselves can plan it. Sir, there are, the chat box is actually flooded with questions, and if you give me permission, then I just... please carry on.
And I'm also checking the question also. Yes. I will read the questions. I'm just going to, you can just ask. I'm just reading this question. Someone is
Yes, sir.
Shubrang Shupan. He's asking this question: is there any planning for tax exemption in the pandemic period? Yeah, it's about the tax exemption point I have already mentioned to you. This is the first time for the income tax India's history. It had been mentioned that you will have the opportunity to claim your investment or the deductions that or the donations to the PM Care Fund or Chief Minister Relief Fund, whatever the donations you have made in cash, you can claim the deductions under Section 80G. And you know that for the expenditure 2021, for the relevant to the previous year 1920, and you know it very well, in 1920 there is no question of the old and the new tax regime. It had been applicable from this previous year 2021. So you can very much the amount that you have made as a donation or amount that you have made. I know that all of us had made the donations to those PM Care Fund or the Chief Minister Relief Fund. So you can claim the deductions, and also if you are not able to pay the deductions, or sorry, you can pay the investment, or you can make the investment or the insurance claim on anything that you can't do it before 31st March. You can do it right now because the time is also there. You have 31st up to 31st July. You can claim the tax deduction. And there
is a question related to NPS, sir.
Yeah, I'll come. I'm reading all those points. Oritra Chakraborty, calculate tax for SSC twice in every case. Yeah, I have already said it's not about twice. It is about the regime. There are the two regimes. You need to have the mindset. There are two regimes, old and new tax regime. Choice is yours. Choice is completely yours. Whether you will go for new or you will stick with the old. You need to make the calculations. That is the question of the planning, because you know that the students in the master degree, they used to learn about the tax planning. But in individual level, the tax planning is not actually being applicable. We know only the tidbits of 80G, and basically the tax planning is applicable for the corporate SSC. But here, the individual SSC also have the opportunity. They can claim they can go for the tax planning, and they can go for the lower tax burden. That's why students have the opportunity to guide the person, because all the persons are not going to be technically equipped to know which one is good, which one is bad, where you can give you the valuable suggestions, and you can do the calculations on behalf of them, and you can definitely earn the consultation fees. Suresh Tawang, you have asked the question, there's a main reason actually to bring big changes in income tax. What are the main reasons? Because I have already mentioned, it is a long-standing demand. We have observed three tax, only the you know that for the salaried individual it is a 5%, 20%, 30%. Previously it was 5%, 10%, 20, 30. 10% had been abolished few years ago, but there is no major division for the income tax liability for the salaried individual. There is a long-standing demand for the persons. So, from the salaried person across the country. So, taking into consideration the long-standing demand of the standard salaried person, the government had introduced, but with some disclaimer. If you go for new tax regime, there will be those are the things you need to sacrifice. Deductions you need to sacrifice. But in the new tax regime, you will have a lower tax. You know that, and obviously, if you are not saving too much, definitely it can be advisable for you to go for the new. But I have already said I can't give you one-liner advice whether you can go for old or new tax regime. You need to make a calculations. So obviously, the choice, we'll have a choice. Now the salaried person have the choice. So these are big changes. Definitely a big changes. A big changes happen in Indian sector, the fiscal policy. Yes, definitely. And salaried individual definitely beneficial, but which is beneficial, you need to calculate and you need to go for that thing. NPS. Saroj Prasad had asked the question, from whom it is benefited the NPS. You can NPS. You can ask for the NPS. NPS is National Pension Scheme. You know it very well. That been introduced. There are the two things. Those who are the central government employee, it is mandatory for them after 2004. They need to go for the NPS, but for us it is not mandatory. I'm not talking about the mandatory NPS. Mandatory NPS, I'm talking about the voluntary NPS. Even though you are not under the ambit of the mandatory NPS, you can opt for the voluntary NPS. And this section is HTCCD subsection 2, where you can claim HTCCD 2B, you can HTCCD 1 and HTCCD 2, HTCCD 1B, HTCCD 2B, those are the different sections are there. You need to be very clear about this fact. NPS made by myself, mandatory. It is under section 80C, up to rupees 150. My employer made the NPS contribution along with me. It is HTCCD 2, subsection 2. It is allowable both old and new. ATC made by you, mandatory, not allowed under new, but allowed in old, but up to 1,50,000. ATC NPS made voluntarily, Tier 1, it is 50,000. Up to 50,000 you can claim, and it is allowable under old, but not under new. And how we can do the NPS? You just log into the NPS website, and you need to fill up the form, upload the details, and you can get the PRAN number, PRAN, PRAN card, and everything. You can make the contribution by yourself. It is very simple, very simple. You need to make the choice whether you will go for the auto or you can do it by yourself. You need to do it for them. And I think Shubhabrato Dev, I have already mentioned the treatment of the NPS. I have already, since the question of the service question that I have already mentioned, I have already covered the query of the Shubhabrato Dev. Chinmoy Goswami, what is the objective of the new tax regime? I already mentioned. It will motivate the taxpayer to participate in the national building without increasing overall exemption limit. Definitely, actually, Chinmoy, the things are very, you know that is very subjective questions. Whether I can avail the exemption limit, whether it is the national building process of that, how much foreign exchange you have, sorry, how much things will come to the exchequer. That is a very subjective thing. Whether you know that we are on the one hand, I am giving the benefit of the lower income tax regime, but on the other hand, I'm saying that you can't go for those exemptions and the deductions, so that is beneficial in the long run or short run. I have said it is not about the long run or short run. The things are very simple. Your decision is completely yours, your own. You should not take your decision for the short-term benefit of getting the lower tax rate, because you have responsibility, you have your own personal responsibility, your lifestyle, your income pattern. The things are very important. So, if in order to avail the new income tax regime, I am sacrificing all those investment, it is not advisable. It depends upon your choice. So there is only the income tax planning may be one factor, but investment planning, when you are making an investment planning, income tax planning is just a one factor. You need to consider other factors also. So things are like this. And regarding the whether it will increase the exchequer of the government, the foreign the income tax collection, let us wait, because we are not in a position to know. Let us finish this. Let us observe what will happen. What is the tax collection of the government at the end of the previous year, this particular year. We need to wait up to 31st March 2021. Then we are in a position to know the impact of going for old and new income tax regime. So we need to wait a few days so that we can be in a position to say whether it is good or bad. And whatever deductions can be claimed, I have already mentioned a few, only few. I have two things I have already mentioned: HTCCD subsection 2 made by your employer, and the second one I have already mentioned, HTJJA, and other things are there. Only few deductions are available. I have just mentioned those points, and those things are. I am also thinking myself why CBDT is making direct tax law is so complex. It is not about the complex. It is in the complexity. The things are the beauty lies. So when it will be so easy, the people how we can make the earning, how we can set the question paper. So that should be the complex one. So I'm just joking it, but government is trying. Each and every government is trying to make it very lucid so that people can understand in a very good way. So this is simple and simple. I think those are the feedback form you are taking into lecture. Or through you are asking email address communication you can have from your organizer. I think Amit Mojumdar one, you can reach to me in my Amit Mojumdar one at gmail.com. You can write. You can take this email ID where you can put the questions. I think already been covered. कानून के हाथ और अखे लंबे होते हैं सर. ओके क्या बोले भाई, वो तो हमारा बस में नहीं है ना. अगर क्या लंबे होते और क्या होते हैं, it is up to a big person. We are not a person to say to give the understanding of that thing. We can make the right comment on that particular issue. Thank you all. And if you have any other queries, you can put the chat box. I will answer.
Yes,
Thank you. You can reach to me in amitmojumdar1 at gmail.com. J is the Japan and E is the English. amitmojumdar1 at gmail.com.
If someone have any other questions, sir have just given his email ID. Just put your question there. Sir will answer. Surely answer. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Over to Shantanu.
And thank you the authority to give me the chances to Bhairab Ganguly College to give me the chances to present a few thoughts in front of this learned audience. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, Rosie Madam, for question and answer session. Now we come to end this that part of vote of thanks, and may I request in charge of the Department of Commerce, that is Professor Rosie Lashkar, to give formal vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon to all the dignitaries and learned participants. I, on behalf of Bhairab Ganguly College, deem it great honor to propose vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to extend my heartily thanks to our eminent speakers, Dr. Soika Sinha Roy and Dr. Amit Mojumdar, for gracing today's webinar and delivering such an illuminating and thought-provoking session. I would also like to propose vote of thanks to our Honorable Vice Principal Sir, Dr. Sanjit Kumar Das, for extending his enormous support and guidance from the very first day. Thank you, sir. I would also like to extend my profound gratitude to Dr. Prabir Karar, Associate Professor, Department of Economics, for continuous guidance, and also to the joint convener, Dr. Surajit Sengupta, Dr. Shantanu Chakraborty, and the joint organizing secretary, Sri Ashutosh Murmu, for their enormous endeavor and effort. I would also like to extend my vote of thanks to the member of the organizing committee, Sri Khokon Chandra Mondol, Sri Manabesh Mojumdar, Sri Shutidananda Sharda, Sri Amitabh Saha, Sri Vijaya Shah. And I would also like to extend gratitude to Mintu Khaldar, the bursar of the Bhairab Ganguly College, for his continuous support for today's endeavor. I would also want to propose my vote of thanks to our departmental colleagues and the organizing committee member. I would also want to extend my gratitude to Abul Salam sir, the librarian of Shivpur Dinabandhu College, for his technical support, without which the webinar on this platform will be impossible. Thank you, sir. Finally, last but not the least, I would also want to extend my gratitude and want to thank to the wonderful learned participants who have turned in such a great number and made this webinar such a grand success. Thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you, madam, for vote of thanks. And now in the last, now we come to the valedictory session, and may I request our Honorable Vice Principal Sir to have a valedictory speech.
Thank you, Shantanu. Now, We are at the last lap of this one-day state level webinar organized by the Department of Economics and Department of Commerce of Bhairab Ganguly College. And in this valedictory session, it's my duty, being the head of the institution, to express thanks and gratitude to all the persons involved with this webinar. First of all, I express my gratitude to the two honorable speakers of this webinar, Professor Soikat Senaroy of Jadavpur University and Dr. Amit Mujumdar of Vijay Krishna Girls College, Howrah, for their valuable speech, for their exchanging their views on two different topics. Professor Senaroy been discussed about the recent economic impact on the lockdown on Indian economy and the remedial measures that could be a possible opening that we can say we may follow. And Dr. Amit Mujumdar expressed his views on the tax regimes that have actually helped us to understanding the scenario that whether we'll go for the old one or stick for the old one or we'll go for the new regime. So I again express my heartiest thanks and gratitude to both the honorable speakers. I also express my thanks to the organizers, secretaries, and all the persons associated with this program for their sincere and dedicated efforts that made this webinar successful. And I express my heartiest thanks to all the participants for their patient hearing, and hope you have enjoyed this session and you have been enriched by the valuable comments and suggestions of our respected speakers. And finally, I express my heartiest thanks to Dr. Abul Salam for his technical support. And we are going to organize, we have already organized several webinar conferences earlier. And in the coming days, we are also going to organize different seminars, webinars, conferences, workshops, and we expect your participation and cooperation. And thanks all of you. Please stay home, stay safe, and please stay with the students. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shantanu, for giving the information about the feedback form and certificate to the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we already given in the chat box the feedback form, and you fill up, and there are the processes we already in your mail that you come to the new process and get your certificate within certain days. And thank all of the participants, and thank you, sir. And now I end our today's webinar. Thank you.
হ্যালো শান্তনু অমিতবাবু নমস্কার। একদিন আসতে হবে কলেজে, মিস করলাম। আমি প্রবীর কানার ইকোনমিক্স ডিপার্টমেন্টে ভৈরব গাঙ্গুলি কলেজ।